Hello, welcome to Looking Behind the Mirror, where we explore narcissism and take our lives back as we make sense out of nonsense. As a quick disclaimer, I am not a professional, and everything I say is based on my opinions, my research, and my personal experiences. If you are in crisis, please seek professional help. I will provide links below. Today's video is going to be separated into two videos. I think two videos will cover it because I want to go over mind games that narcissists play so that you can maybe see yourself in these and stop letting them drive you crazy and manipulate you. And as I started brainstorming and going over all these different mind games that they play, I realized, wow, I could probably go on for hours about this. So I have a list of 12 games that they play with you, and I'm going to separate them into two separate videos. So without further ado, number one, they convince you that you are not good enough the way that you are. And they do this in all kinds of different ways. They might find the things that you feel insecure about and really pick on those things. They can also take time to figure out what you value, what characteristics about yourself are important to you, and then find ways to undermine those characteristics. And they can just give you a general sense of never being satisfied with what you do. This, of course, requires your desire to please them and make them happy. That's got to be important to you, and all they have to do is just make you keep trying no matter what you do, always finding something wrong with it. This can get really cruel and really dark. I mean, I've been told that I'm a bad mother, that I am emotionally hurting my child by just simple things that normal people do. For me, being trustworthy is a very, very important characteristic. I feel like I'm a trustworthy person, and it's very important to me that other people never find a reason not to trust me, and that's been used against me. I've been told, wow, I really trust you, you're a really trustworthy person, and then it morphed into, I really need to trust you, and then into, wow, I thought I could trust you. They really know how to find what you value most and just really dig down underneath the bottom of your soul to make you feel like you're not a good person. They can use triangulation, which is an extremely powerful tool in convincing you that you're not good enough. Instead of them saying, you're a really rude, thoughtless person, they can say, I'm not sure why, but my sister said that she felt like you were really rude and thoughtless the other night, and it really hurt her feelings. That's a much, much more powerful statement. And that's really gonna hurt a lot more than hearing somebody say their firsthand opinion about the way that you behave. And in triangulation, the sister possibly never said anything of the sort. Those statements could be completely made up and simply used for the power that they wield in making you feel like you're not good enough. Number two, they purchase the right to abuse you. So what does that mean? Narcissists can be very generous. They can be very giving. They can seem to be very caring. They can go out of their way to do favors for you, to buy you gifts, take you on vacation, cook you dinner, clean the house, buy you a car. They can do all kinds of really great things for you. And then when you start to call them out on really cruel and abusive things that they're doing, they can go back and say, excuse me, this is the thanks I get for buying you a car. If you try to bring up the fact that you feel like you're being financially abused, like you have to ask permission every time you want to buy a loaf of bread, then they can say, oh, really? After that $3,000 bracelet I bought you and that $10,000 vacation, you're going to complain about a loaf of bread? And what can you say to that? They have purchased the right to control you in that way. If you bring up, you're always insulting me, you're always bringing me down and telling me all these ways that I'm not good enough, they can say, What about all the compliments I've given you? What about all the praise and encouragement? That means nothing. They've purchased the right to abuse you. They're cashing in on the nice things they've done and the generosity that they've offered you. And that can really stop you dead in your tracks and just make you feel like you have no foundation for the way that their behavior is making you feel. Number 3, they provide false hope. So this can be future faking or giving you reprieve or intermittent praise. They're always making you feel like if you just keep trying, you're gonna make it. Or they can also make you feel like, yes, finally, it's good enough. What I'm doing is good enough. And they're doing this really to just keep you strung along, to just keep you trying to make them happy. I know I've been in a situation where there have been things that I have tried and tried and tried and tried and tried to do the right way. And no matter what I do, it's never, ever good enough. And I'm just being constantly criticized. But then all of a sudden I get, good job, you're finally getting it. All right, high five. And I'm like, I didn't change anything. Why is it suddenly good enough? Okay, but it just gives you this lift of like, oh, finally, yes, I finally get it. But at the same time, this confusion of how come it's good now and it wasn't last week? I'm so confused, but okay, cool. It's just a mind game. It's not supposed to make sense. It's supposed to keep you confused and supposed to keep you trying and trying to accomplish something that really isn't an actual real goal. This false hope can also be presented as future faking, like, oh, someday we're going to go on this trip to Europe, and they can sit and plan it with you if that's somewhere you really want to go, or maybe it's a cruise, or maybe it's a trip to Hawaii, and they can sit down and plan it with you and get you all excited about it and just keep this dopamine running in your head of this anticipation of all these cool things you're going to do together. And that can actually make it harder to let go of the relationship once you realize that your relationship is toxic and abusive, when you think, well, what about that trip to Europe we were going to take? And what about that house we were going to build together? And all these things. It's just part of the false hope. Those things are probably never actually going to happen. They are part of this narrative of you can't leave me because there's too many great things that you're going to be giving up if you do. And this false hope can also be seen in little pockets of reprieve. Narcissists can be very aggressive and critical and cruel and mean and really make your life miserable for whatever period of time they feel like doing that. And then when you start feeling like you've had enough and, I can't take this anymore, suddenly they stop. They start being a little nicer and a little more patient. And you feel this weight come off of you and I can breathe again. Like they're offering you reprieve. And that's giving you false hope that maybe this is it. Finally, things are working out and I feel happy about this. And it's all roses from here on out. And of course, it doesn't last. It's just something to keep you going, to kind of keep you addicted to the relationship with that rush of dopamine that you get when things are going good. 4, they accuse you of things that you can't prove you're not doing. This can give you the most hopeless feeling in the world. So they can accuse you of things of not trying hard enough. And you can argue for hours or days or years about how hard you're trying. I'm trying my best. And all they have to do is just say, no, you're not. You need to try harder. You're not trying. If you were trying, you would be able to do it. You're not trying. Stop saying you're trying. You need to try harder. Why don't you try? I've heard those words ringing in my head. Why don't you try when I am trying really hard? Or something that might actually be physically impossible to do. And all they have to do is just sit there and scream at you to try, because you can't prove that you're trying. You have no argument. It's just your word against his or her word. I am trying. No, you're not. I am. No, you're not. They can also accuse you of not caring about them. You don't even care about me. Yes, I do. You can't prove that you care about someone. All you can do is tell them and show them. But if they feel like you don't care and they continue to insist that you don't care, there's nothing you can do about that. You can't show somebody that you care if they don't want to see it. They can accuse you of not loving them. You can try to say, I love you, and no, you don't. Don't say that. Don't lie to me. I wish that I could believe that. And there's nothing you can do about that. And this can keep you caught in a cycle of trying to prove these things. If I can just show him how hard I'm trying, if I can just show her how much I care, if I can just show him how much I actually love him, they're going to get it. They're going to get it. They're going to see it because they think I don't care. They think I'm not trying. I've got to keep trying. I've got to show them that they're wrong. And that's really the whole purpose of this. The truth is, they don't really care if you are actually trying or if you actually care or if you actually love them. They don't really care about that. They're not sitting there hoping that you'll prove them wrong. They're bringing it up because they know that it's going to keep you stuck on that hamster wheel, constantly trying to prove to them that you are of good intentions and that you are trying. They don't really care about the truth about whether or not you're doing what they're accusing you of doing. It's not about that. It's about manipulating you. It's about keeping you caught on a cycle. 5, they convince you that you need them. And this can be done in different ways. Maybe you are emotionally dependent on them. Maybe you're financially dependent on them. There's a lot of different ways that somebody can manipulate you into feeling like you won't be able to make it without them. They may even create situations like having a child with you or having a mortgage together that you can't afford on your own. Maybe you're in a job that you don't feel like anyone else would offer you, and your boss uses that to make you feel stuck in that company. And you can be actually told outright, I love you so much. Nobody could ever love you the way that I do. It can be suggested to you that you are just so hard to put up with. Being with you is so difficult. And wow, I am so patient to be putting up with you. Nobody else would ever put up with your nonsense. You're so lucky that I'm here and that I'm so patient and that I'm willing to accept you the way you are because, wow, you're very difficult to live with. And when these ideas are presented to you in sneaky, insidious ways every single day over and over again, it can be easy to fall for it and to really start to believe it, especially when it's being presented to you by somebody that you trust. And this can really keep you stuck in the relationship because you might really believe, like, well, where am I going to live? Or what about the kids? Or nobody else is going to accept me like this, or I'll never be able to find another job that pays me this much because I'm not really worth this much. But it's just another manipulation tactic to keep you stuck in the relationship and to make you believe that there's really nowhere else for you to go. 6, they control you through fear. They keep you fearful. One thing that almost all relationships with narcissists have in common is the feeling that you're walking on eggshells. It's a constant feeling of nervousness, a constant hypervigilance that something might set them off at any moment and they're going to explode on you. Narcissists are unpredictable. You never know when they're going to be in a good mood or when they're going to be angry and upset with you. It really keeps you on your toes. It really does a number on your nervous system. Something as simple as noticing that the floor has crumbs on it can really set you off into a panic of, oh my gosh, the floor's dirty. What if she comes in and she sees it? She's going to yell at me for 3 hours. I better hurry and clean this up. And while you're cleaning it, it's like, oh my gosh, I forgot to do the dishes. Oh my gosh. I don't have time. What am I going to do? I mean, you're just always afraid and on edge. This fear can also control the way that you behave and express yourself. You might not feel that it's safe to say what you really think and to express how you really feel about things because you're not going to be accepted that way. You may fear losing the relationship if you were to wear the clothes you want to wear, do your hair the way you want to do it, and use the language you want to use, and say what you really think about things. So this fear can really suppress your own personality and your own expression and your own sense of self. The fear is definitely something that I think if you're used to living in this kind of fear, you don't even really realize that it's not normal to feel afraid of people that are supposed to be your main support in life. If you're afraid and nervous around someone, that's not normal and that's not healthy. You're not supposed to feel nervous around people, even if it's your boss. If you're in a healthy work environment, you shouldn't feel nervous and afraid around your boss, unless you've done some horrible crime that you're afraid to be found out about. But that's the thing is narcissists make you feel like the simplest of mistakes is a horrible crime. So you feel that fear and nervousness that you would feel if you had actually committed a horrible crime that you're trying to get away with, because every little thing is a horrible crime to them. So that wraps it up for this video. These were the first 6 mind games that narcissists play with you, and in part 2, I will go over the next 6 mind games that you need to look out for. And if you identify yourself with any of these, dig a little deeper into it and look at the ways that you might be being manipulated and you don't even know it. Thanks for watching till the end. If you like this video, please like, comment, or subscribe. It really helps me grow this channel so that I can keep making these kind of videos for you. Until next time, thanks. Bye.